Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Nice
All
to
right.
meet you all.
Yes. All right. So the next item is number 7, Finance Committee. Christina, do you have something to offer for that?
Yes and no. As a treasurer, I have a bit to offer. So we've been doing a lot of work in the background, getting the banks changed over. There was a hiccup with Rust and Company, who we does our bookkeeping. They lost access to the bank account because our previous executive director had provided their own logon instead of a limited logon. That should have been just informational. So
And that was, Christina, just to clarify, that was the real executive,
the one
not
that had
the
been
interim.
here for a while. Yes,
Right.
Mark.
Right.
So we got that cleared up. We got Rust and Company a logon so that it's informational only, that they don't have the power to do ACHs and wire transfers, which is a good controls thing. I wanted to let everyone know we also this past week submitted the annual report to the Secretary of State. It is a different annual report than goes to Cheshire TV. It does include a copy of our tax return, the audited financial statements, and Joe Bendisky, when he was on, I think I said his name right, when he was on the board and the previous treasurer, did have the foresight to file an extension for that and to pay the $75 filing fee. So we were in good shape there once we got everything approved through the city and so forth to get the Secretary of State filed. So that's all in good shape.
And Christina, can I just say that that information is available online if anybody is interested in looking at it? I believe that the state posts it.
Yes, it's all public information, the tax return with details, yeah, and the financials, and the certificate of good standing in the state will all be there as well. So we've been doing some of that work. We don't really have a finance committee right now. It was myself, Joe Bendisky, and Andy Hunek. Joe is not on the board. The last time Andy and I met, no, I did not tell everyone we were having a finance committee meeting, but it was, we had the audited financial statements, we had the budget to review and to compare to last year's financials, to have a couple of sets of eyes on it so that we could get it to the city. So I am looking forward again to getting more board members because we do need a finance committee. What we plan on doing and has been done is we will issue a quarterly treasurer's report. It'll be a summary report. So the quarter, which we did present back on a meeting that we had back on November 10th that didn't come to fruition because of some issues with the meeting itself. We did talk about where we were with the first quarter moving forward. So the quarter ends on December 31st. It will take the month of January for our accountants to make sure all the information is updated and accurate. We will have a finance committee by then, hopefully. And then the finance committee will meet the week before the normal board meeting to discuss anything that's going on with the financials, and it will be presented. So right now, our actual finance committee treasurer's report is scheduled for the board meeting of February.
Okay. All right. So this is mostly informational then tonight. What I can tell you too is if you think about it, we are already about almost 6 months into our budget. So we're quite a ways. We just need to keep going. But Kirsten, did you have any questions? You said you had some questions before.
Yeah. So, hi, Christina. Did you get a chance? I know you weren't at the dialogue, or I didn't see that you were there. Did you have a chance to listen or watch and review everyone's statements?
I was not at the dialogue. I was, my child came home from college and I was spending the evening with her, so I did not. Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. So I know you just said that, so we're talking about the November 9th Finance Committee meeting, right? So on Friday, we emailed you and said, hey, I'm not directly quoting, but he said, hey, you're having this thing on Monday. You got to make sure you post it. And then you didn't. And you said, next time we will. So I just would like to know why, after being told that you had to, you chose not to at all. I was
What was not
available
posted?
Monday the 9th at noon. I was available. I would have liked to participated in a finance committee meeting, even just to sit and listen, to be more informed and have more information. And so it's kind of awkward because I guess I'm asking you right out, why did you make that decision?
So can I answer something,
No,
Christina,
I would
before
like
you
to
start?
see- I would like
So-
to answer it.
Okay, that's fine, but I would like to say something after.
Of course.
Thank you.
So we did have, like I said, it was an impromptu finance committee meeting because the board was meeting. We needed to review. There were 3 or 4 months leading up to that point. There was, we needed to look at the budget. We needed to make some changes to the annual report that the city asked for some more detail on our cash position. So we put that together. And we did not have a Zoom meeting. We met in Keene. The one request I got was from Lee, and I told him, please join us at the Oval at Keene at noon on Monday, I believe it was, if he was available to do that. There was absolutely nothing trying to hide anything. There were some reports we needed to get to the city, and having a limited board and having the several previous meetings not being very productive whatsoever due to quite a bit of contention and other things going on. We did meet. I had just got my QuickBooks log-on, actually, I believe, on that Friday, so that I could even go and print some first quarter information to see if we were close to budget, to see what was going on. So all that information is public. It is available. Between November 7th and November 9th, we were under a gun to get some finance things done. So it was not an intentional oversight to not send a email out to all members to say, join me on the Oval in Keene, but we are working on this. We now have this platform for Zoom that I will ask Jody to help set up. So when we have our future finance committee meetings, they will be Zoom and not face-to-face for now, till we get through this pandemic.
So what I would like to say is we are making some changes. We are setting, the next item of business is just mostly informational as well, but we are going to be having a calendar on our website so that people will know about meetings that are coming up. And we are going to be doing things to hopefully have people more aware of things. What I can tell you is I've talked with Joe Benzinski, who was the treasurer for quite some time. I've talked with some other previous board members, and they say they never remember inviting anybody to these meetings except for the people that were on the committee. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong, but what we do plan to do is have a calendar so people will be aware of the future meetings that are coming up.
Perfect. Perfect. As far as financial documents, others and myself have requested different types of financial documents. We don't have them. So I guess I'm going to ask again, is there a way we can get P&Ls? Like, I know you've been getting, like, we've emailed back and forth, you've emailed with Lee. So can you tell me, like, I want to see spending trends, because there has been so many in and out, right? Like Jody, you've talked about how things have been really crazy, right?
But not financially.
Okay, well then I would like to see the P&Ls and I can, certainly provide a little more detail.
So the board's, I believe our board feeling is if somebody is asking for it, we will make it public and put it on our website. So we don't feel that one person, if one person's asking for it, other members should be getting the information as well. So we do have our annual report and we do have our budget on our website, and we will have more information available there as well. Christina, you can talk about the P&L, but we want to provide information. We just want to make sure that the information that we're providing is information that we should be sharing. It's Christina.
Yeah, from a financial control standpoint, just opening up access to QuickBooks to 50 members is not something that we're going to do. We will, according to the bylaws, issue a quarterly financial statement. Like Jody said, the budget and the annual report are on there. Any board member, any of the municipalities, do have the right to ask to examine the books in detail. That is not something that we have found anywhere, either in the state of New Hampshire or our bylaws, that financials are 100% open to members. It's not that we're going to hide anything, but it will I have, almost 40 years experience as an accountant, and many of them with nonprofits. And if you just put out information that has not been reviewed, so a perfect example is the first quarter financials that I did share in that November 10th meeting. There was a very significant error, if you will, but a reclassification that needed to happen. So if I handed a P&L through the end of September to the members, it appeared that there was a $7,000 loss on the quarter. What needed and needs to be reclassed, and only the hired accountants can do these kind of journal entries, is there was a $22,000 invoice for our Nexus system, which is part of a capital budget, not an expense budget, as well as an approved computer that came in for $2,799. Accounting principles say that anything that has a useful life of more than 2 years and is over $2,500 is capitalized and not expensed. So that's a really perfect example of, if I just printed a P&L and sent it off to the members for the end of September, it's going to raise a lot of eyebrows and, oh my gosh, we're $7,000 in the red, when really, in fact, we were 14,000 something profitable. And looking at that, tying it to the budget. So part of my job as treasurer and reviewing financial statements is looking for anomalies. So if there's something that doesn't look like it's jiving with the budget on a quarterly basis, or something that stuck out so huge right there that there wasn't, a computer expense for $22,000 was part of the capital budget, that is my job. That is my role. I will share all the information, but I'm not going to give members 100% as soon as they ask access to print off a P&L and give it to you if I'm not confident that it is accurate.
Okay, I understand what you've said. Jody, can you see that Lee has his hand up?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I did not.
Sorry, I think
Nope.
it just happened. I
Yeah.
don't want to be the only person talking, you know what I mean?
Okay, so you're all set, Kirsten? Okay. Yes, Lee.
Hi, thanks. I hope everybody can hear me. I appreciate, can everybody hear me? Anybody?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I appreciate that explanation. I have some concerns because it doesn't really address any of what has gone before. I've been requesting data since August, and I've asked for data that's at least a year old in some cases, and I've received none of that. In particular, I'm bothered by the fact that every board member should be fully aware of all of the requirements in the operating agreement rights with the city. So there's a contract, and every single board member should know what's in it. And that contract requires quarterly detailed transaction listings. The exact thing that Christina just went to great lengths to tell us that we could not see is required by the city. And when I ask for something like that, and then I follow that with an email explaining why I need it, and the reason that I need it is because I've glanced at the budget, and after making 11 of those things over the years, I see serious problems right out of the gate. The problem that I think needs to be addressed before anything else happens tonight is why and how is it that a person who has every right to request something that should already have been done per requirement from the city. So not only are you guys failing to keep that agreement with the city, you're then telling members who have a right to ask for it, no. And it isn't for any of the reasons Christina just mentioned, because I was asking for things from last year and those things aren't relevant anymore, except for someone who knows what they're doing to compare historical trends to current budget plans. We've got a budget that doesn't have any room for error. Having done this for so long, I can tell you that there were months where I put my own money in the bank to cover things. That's how tight the budget is. And I'm looking at a budget that has been presented to the city in an FOP meeting, albeit a draft, and to some degree the board, that is absolutely not based in the real world. You're talking about hiring an executive director at a $60,000 a year salary. You've already hired 3 new staff members, and no one has done a resource capacity analysis to determine what labor requirements you have and can you afford to pay them. In short, you are writing checks you can't cash. And I'm telling all of you right now, when a member, especially someone who is a recognized expert in the topic, says, please provide me with data that I am legally allowed to have, the answer should be yeah, tomorrow, not no, and here's why. And I want to also further add that while I appreciate everything Christina said, I want there to be no confusion. She was told well in advance that all meetings had to be public. That meeting wasn't impromptu. It was scheduled 4 days in advance. I'm telling the board of directors that you have a person on your board that violated the bylaws knowingly. She did it because she's mad at me. She knows that I can't just come to the Oval. And in any case, you don't just tell one person, you tell the whole membership.
Right.
And there needs to be no more discussion about what things used to be. I used to be
You're right.
140 pounds. I'm talking about last week. I'm talking about 2 weeks ago, not 4 years ago. If Joe Benzinski didn't invite members to come to Finance Committee, shame on him. He knew better. And board members like Ken Colby and Dave, who have been around for a while, I don't understand why you guys are acting like you don't know how things are supposed to go. Some of you have been involved with the renegotiation of that contract that went on for over 13 months. To now say that you don't know what's in it is just, it's shameful. And if the members were paying closer attention, these conversations would happen more often. And I think you're seeing that as members start paying attention, they have valid questions. And their valid questions aren't being answered. They're being given platitudes and being told things that are flat out not true. So I'm going to ask in front of everybody one more time, can I see detailed expenditure reports for the past 16 months or not?
Lee, I have asked.
See what I'm saying? Not yes, just silence. I
Okay,
specifically
Christina,
asked for
because
something.
Christina will answer.
Lee, because I tend to try to think before I speak and I accuse people of things. I did not say that the members could not have the information. What I said was that based on the bylaws, quarterly reports will include expenditures. I have only been the treasurer for not even this whole quarter. So if you want to not talk about what's in the past, then you need to let it go because I only became treasurer in the October meeting. So to say what has been done in the past and 16 months worth of expenditures and that you have a right to see everything, I have not seen, and I have read the bylaws again and again over the past 6 months when you brought them up, that the board and the municipalities have every right to come in and inspect the books of record when asked to do so. There is nothing that says the membership can just email a treasurer and expect everything to be dropped and them to compile information for the membership because you once did this for 11 years.
So I never said a
So-
word about the bylaws, Christina. I'm asking you to answer my question. Will you give me detailed transaction reports?
No, I will
Okay,
not
Steve
go
Hooper.
back.
Steve
You-
Hooper, she has violated
know
the
what?
operating rights
You-
agreement.
Enough,
You are
enough,
interrupting me, Lee. I will
You're
not.
just talking.
enough.
You're
This
just
is why
talking
we do
nonsense.
this, Lee. Please,
Okay,
one
let her
person
talk.
at a
But
time.
when she's done, I'm
This
going
is
to address it.
This is a board meeting, Lee. I will not drop everything to look at 16 months worth of expenditures that prior to my tenure, if that was something that needed to go to the city, did not, I will certainly address to make sure that that gets to the city and they have all the information. What I have done since my tenure as a treasurer is did help get the annual report to the city, answer their particular questions about our cash position, about some budget items, We adjusted the budget to include information from the city because the lease increased and we will be paying our own rent and so forth. Then the feedback that we've received from the city in regards to the budget and the handling of the finances has been that we're in good standing. So I respect that you are a member of Cheshire TV, but you are not a member of the board. So you do not have the right to inspect our books of record just because you say you want it.
All done?
Okay.
All done?
Christina, are
Is
you
it my
all
turn
set?
now?
Okay, Lee?
All right. Anybody on the board ever read the operating rights agreement? Any of you have any idea what your obligations are to the city of Keene? No?
We want to hear it from you, Lee.
Well, I told you. The operating rights agreement requires that the finance committee present each quarter a detailed list of every transaction, every one. Everything that happens in that meeting is public. So any member who wants to can look at last finance committee meeting going backwards to the end of time, any quarter they want. So when I say all I want to see is what the board has seen, which I would have seen if the finance committee was doing its job at any point, I wouldn't have to ask. I would just come and get it. My concern is not that it's not there for me to pick up, but I'm being actively blocked, which just makes me want to know why. Why does anybody think that if I say, I'm not the one who wrote that contract, by the way, the city of Keene did. And to my knowledge, Cheshire TV is still a party to that contract. So does somebody on the board, anyone, including Steve Hooper, a city councilor, want to tell me why I'm not allowed to see this documentation? Or why no one cares that it's not being done? More importantly, last question, when the city finds out you're not, and they decide to make an issue of that, what will the explanation be? I couldn't be bothered to read the contract. I joined the board in April, but I haven't had time to realize what my job requirements are. I say, guys, it's really difficult to listen to Christine say that she just started when she started in April, if anybody wants to read the minutes, for the sole purpose of replacing the treasurer. So she had April, May, June, July, August, September to be prepared, to get ready. And she hasn't read the contract. So
Okay.
one more time, can I see the documentation that is required by the city to be given to the board by the finance committee in a public meeting or not?
I will review I did just take a copy of the operating agreement from Cheshire TV last week. I will review it in detail. And if it shows that I need to give to Lee Perkins, a member of Cheshire TV, not a member of the board, not a member of the municipality, if it tells me that I need to do that, I will do that, but it will not be tomorrow.
And
Okay.
what I
Steve
can
Hooper,
say,
I asked Steve Hooper a question. I'd like him
Okay.
to answer it, please.
yes, Steve.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to give some information. In general terms, Lee, I did check with, I'm talking through the chair. I did check with the city manager today and Mayor Hansel in a meeting, and this was okayed by Jody. And I wanted to check to see if they had any red flags with the Cheshire TV. It's critical that we are on a good relationship with the city of Keene, as you mentioned, Lee. And at this meeting, which I had Zoom this morning, there was a consensus between the mayor and the city manager that the Cheshire TV is not in breach of the contract. This Cheshire TV is in a good standing. And they do understand that due to the board being short-staffed, there is understanding by the city manager that things are coming in a little bit later than they should. I think everyone, including members, need to be patient, please. And we're working as fast as we can to get all of this information out to the public. And I think we, in this very, very difficult time, have to be patient. And I do not see some patience there, which is disappointing. But again, the canary in the coal mine, city of Keene, paying us $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 a month. they are fine with the way things are going. And the one concern that the city had is that they'd like to see everyone working together to try to resolve these things and not picking on certain details. And if they see this contentiousness continuing, it's actually going to hurt Cheshire TV more than it isn't. So they want to see people working together. The members, the staff, the board, and the city of Keene all need to work together to try to get things running smoothly. And if that's what they're seeing happening, then there's not going to be a problem. I do know that the contract is very important. It's very, very complex. We need to follow the contract, but the city at this point is saying everything is in good standing. I just want to say that as a representative from the city of Keene. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. All right. So I thank all of you for all of your input, and I'd like to move on if we could. And the next item of business is the Operations Committee. I'm just going to talk just a little bit about that, mostly informational. Nick Morton has been working on our website. This was very outdated, and so he's been making some upgrades on it, not financially, just upgrading where things are located, setting up a calendar, and doing a little bit more so that people can find information a little bit easier. And then what we're going to do is we are planning to make up notebooks for all of our staff and board. And if members are interested in information as well, we can send out maybe an electronic version. But we want to make sure that everyone is aware of all of the documentation so that everyone is aware of how decisions are made and what the expectations are. So this is part of what the Operations Committee is working on right now. Okay. All right, the next one is the Nomination Committee. Dave Payson, I don't know if you want to talk about this a little bit. What I can tell you is the nomination deadline was November 25th. We received all of the nominations back in, and the ballots were sent out on Thursday, the 26th. We did have a problem with Jody Newell. Apparently the information had been entered into Facile incorrectly back in November, and just by chance she's been getting emails, but they weren't linked to her account. So when we went to find out if she would be acceptable as a nominee, I didn't find her name on the account. So we did some research and we did send out a corrected version. We apologize. I hate sending out corrections, but we did send that out so that she was included on that list. What I can also tell you is Vicky Ayer was on that list, and she submitted a request to be taken off from the elections. And what I would like to do right now, she asked me to do this too, is to go ahead and read her not resignation, but her withdrawal. So this is what she stated.